I sat on the cold hardwood floor of my empty apartment. The silence was absolute. Perfect. Then my phone vibrated. A single notification. My sister tagged me in a photo. I opened it, expecting the usual passive-aggressive family meme. Instead, I saw a picture of the driveway I had just pulled out of. My old bedroom window loomed in the background. The caption read, "Finally, the parasite is gone. The dead weight has been lifted." I stopped breathing. Slide underneath that cruel sentence sat 1,247 likes. People were celebrating my exit. The comments kept multiplying. My mother wrote, "No more cooking or cleaning for a total failure." My father liked a comment saying, "Unemployed leeches need to face the real world." My hands stopped shaking. The pain vanished. A completely different emotion took over. Ice-cold clarity. They felt powerful. They felt victorious. They thought they had finally kicked me out. But they were missing one massive, catastrophic detail. I am Chloe. I am 29 years old, and I legally owned the very house they were standing in. My family mastered the art of suburban illusions. We lived just outside Columbus, Ohio. To the neighbors, my parents were the American dream. Hardworking, respectable, generous. Behind closed doors, they were drowning in credit card debt and vanity. My mother bought luxury home decor she could not afford. My father leased cars to impress men he hated. My sister treated every day like a reality television audition. And me, I was the designated punching bag. The quiet disappointment. The truth began 7 years ago. My grandmother, Eleanor, was the only person who saw through my mother's fake smiles. Eleanor possessed zero tolerance for financial stupidity. When she passed away, I was 22. We sat in a sterile lawyer office. My mother wore black silk, crying tears I knew were fake. She waited for the massive check. She waited for the deed. Instead, the lawyer looked directly at me. Eleanor left the house entirely to me. Not my mother, not my father, just me. My mother's face twisted into something ugly. Pure rage masked by a tight, painful smile. The lawyer laid down the rules. My family could live there indefinitely. No eviction notice, no forced rent. But the deed remained strictly in my name. Eleanor knew if my mother touched that property, she would refinance it into oblivion within 6 months. I was 22, grieving, and completely brainwashed. I believed being a good daughter meant staying silent. So I signed the papers. I handed them the keys to my own kingdom. Within 4 weeks, my mother hosted a neighborhood barbecue. She poured wine and gave tours of the remodeled kitchen, acting like she paid for the marble countertops with her own blood and sweat. My sister posted selfies on the porch with captions about her incredible childhood home. And then, the ultimate manipulation began. My mother sat me down, sighed heavily, and complained about the rising utility bills. She looked at me with deep disappointment. Yeah, she made me feel guilty for simply breathing her air. I started paying her $250 every single month. I paid rent to live in a house I legally owned. I paid while DoorDash delivery drivers showed up every single night. I paid while my mother bought ridiculous patio furniture. I isolated myself in my tiny bedroom. I bought a cheap mini fridge so they could never accuse me of stealing their groceries. I did my laundry at 2 in the morning to avoid my father's sarcastic comments about my laziness. I became a ghost in my own property. To them, I was a pathetic loser who refused to launch. I wore sweatpants. I never left the house. I stared at my laptop all day. My ex-boyfriend Tyler broke up with me because he said I lacked ambition. He wanted a woman with a real career. He wanted someone he could brag about at dinner parties. My family celebrated that breakup. They used it as ultimate proof of my worthlessness, but they never looked closely at my laptop screen. My bedroom was not a hiding place. It was a war room. For 5 years, I built an empire in the dark. I worked as a conversion copywriter and e-commerce funnel strategist. I wrote sales pages that generated millions for tech startups. I doubled the revenue for a massive fitness brand. I negotiated heavy retainer contracts. Money flooded into an offshore business account my family knew nothing about. I paid heavy taxes. I hired a brilliant accountant. I stacked cash relentlessly. Why did I hide it? Because every time I tried to explain my business, my mother rolled her eyes. She said playing on a computer was not a real job. My sister told her friends I probably sold inappropriate pictures online. The disrespect was constant. The mockery was suffocating. So I shut my mouth. I let them call me a freeloader. I let them laugh. Let them build their arrogant little reality. I gave myself 18 months to execute a flawless escape. No arguments, no drama, just a clean surgical extraction. I purchased my new apartment in cash, a beautiful modern space miles away from their toxic bubble. I signed the closing documents in absolute silence. I moved my life out in trash bags and old backpacks, one quiet trip at a time. I took my contracts. I took my server backups. I left absolutely nothing they could use against me. On the final day, I rented a massive moving truck. I loaded my heavy desk. I loaded the expensive ergonomic chair my sister always kicked when she walked past. I was closing the back door of the truck when my mother pulled into the driveway. She froze. Her eyes darted from the truck to my face. She realized she was losing her favorite victim. She demanded to know how I afforded a truck. My sister walked out, phone already recording. She laughed and asked if I was moving into a homeless shelter. My father stood on the porch, arms crossed, demanding I explain myself to him. I looked at the three people who spent a lifetime breaking my spirit. I did not scream. I did not show them my bank accounts. I did not tell them about my completely paid-off apartment. I simply looked my mother in the eyes and said, "I am done being your punching bag." I got in the truck. I drove away. I tasted absolute freedom. And then, 1 hour later, they posted that photo. They called me a parasite in front of the entire world. They dug their own grave on a public platform. They wanted a war. They wanted to destroy my reputation. I sat on my new apartment floor, stared at the 1,000 likes on their cruel post, and smiled. I opened my laptop. I pulled up a specific digital folder, the folder containing the original house deed, the probate documents, the utility bills strictly in my name. The parasite was gone. Now, it was time to collect the rent. On the 7th day, I woke up with absolute clarity. I poured a cup of coffee. I opened my laptop. I printed the property deed, the probate paperwork, and the official letter from my grandmother's attorney. I drove to the post office. I sent a certified package to my parents' address. Signature required. I also forwarded the digital copies via email so nobody could play dumb. This was not a threat. It was a legal reality check. I gave them 2 choices. Option 1. Sign a month-to-month lease agreement. The rent was $2,550. That is the exact fair market value for a 3-bedroom house in our neighborhood. Option 2. Vacate the premises within 30 days. I added one non-negotiable condition. All utility bills must be transferred out of my name by Friday. Electricity, gas, high-speed internet. For 7 years, my name was on those accounts because it was convenient for them. Not anymore. I hit send. I put my phone on silent. I drank my coffee. 10 minutes later, my screen lit up. 24 missed calls, 33 text messages. The panic was instantaneous. My mother texted first. She accused me of trying to give my father a heart attack. She typed massive paragraphs saying, "Family does not do this." My father left 3 voicemails. His voice was cold, trying to sound like the absolute authority. He demanded I drive over immediately. He threatened to hire a ruthless lawyer. My sister took a completely different approach. She texted me like I was just throwing a childish tantrum. She said I was making her look bad in front of her friends. Then, she offered to pay me $400. $400. She offered me pennies to stay in my own massive house. They actually believed I would fold. Because the old Chloe always folded to keep the peace. They thought my legal documents were just a bluff. They thought they still held the power, so I decided to remove their ultimate weapon, their public image. I logged into social media. I made exactly 1 post. I did not rant. I did not curse. I did not play the victim. I simply uploaded a scanned photo of the official house deed with my personal information blocked out. Next to it, I uploaded the screenshot of my sister calling me a parasite. I wrote one single sentence. If you laughed at that post, you laughed at a lie. I own this house. I have always owned this house. The shift was brutal and immediate. The exact same neighbors who liked her cruel post started asking very uncomfortable questions in the comments. My sister went completely silent. Nothing destroys a narcissist faster than losing their audience. Behind the scenes, my family escalated into total madness. My mother threatened to tell everyone I was clinically insane. My father screamed about contesting my grandmother's will. Even though the probate was closed years ago, my aunt called me. She used her sweet, manipulative voice, begging me to drop the lease and forgive my mother. I asked her one simple question. Are you offering to pay their rent? She immediately hung up. The 10-day deadline arrived. No signed lease, no utility transfers, no apology, just pure arrogance. They truly believed they were untouchable. I picked up my phone. I made 3 quick phone calls. First, to the electric company. Second, to the gas company. Third, to the internet provider. I scheduled all services to be disconnected immediately. It was not a dramatic movie scene. It was just an adult enforcing a strict boundary. If they wanted to act like independent, superior adults, they could open their own accounts. The next morning, my phone practically exploded. My mother was screaming so hard she could barely breathe. The house was freezing cold. The stove would not turn on. The internet was completely dead, meaning my father could not work or watch his shows. My sister left a voice note sobbing, calling me a psychopath. Then, my father finally broke. The fake authority vanished. He sounded completely terrified. He begged me to turn the power back on. He said we could sit down and talk like a real family. Talk. That word made me laugh out loud. I replied with one single text message. If the accounts are in my name. You missed the legal deadline. Figure it out. I watched the security camera footage from the driveway. 2 hours later, they were dragging their expensive suitcases into my aunt's tiny car. The proud, arrogant family, who publicly called me a freeloader, was now officially couch surfing. My father actually tried to fight me in court. He honestly believed the legal system ran on intimidation, shame, and family tradition. He was completely wrong. The real world runs on paperwork, legal rights, and strict deadlines. The court date arrived. My family showed up dressed like they were attending a high society charity gala. They wanted to look like the perfect, respectable victims. My mother wore her practiced, tragic expression. My sister constantly checked her phone, desperately wishing she had an audience to watch her perform. My father stood tall, trying to physically intimidate me the way he did when I was a teenager. I walked into the courtroom holding exactly one folder. When the judge called our case, my father immediately started talking. He tried to spin a massive, emotional story about a confused, ungrateful daughter. The judge stopped him after exactly 15 seconds. The judge did not care about his feelings. The judge only cared about the law. The judge asked for the certified mail receipts, the lease offer, the utility shut-off warnings. I handed my folder over in absolute silence. It took the judge exactly 4 minutes to rule entirely in my favor. The eviction was legally and permanently finalized. They had absolutely zero rights to my property. Outside the courtroom doors, my mother lost her composure. She grabbed my arm. Her nails dug into my jacket. She looked at me with pure venom and whispered that I was evil. Weiss, she said I was ruining their lives. I looked down at her hand. I gently removed it. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, I offered you a legal lease. I offered you time. You chose your own ego. I turned around. I walked away. I never looked back. I made one final move to cut the cord completely. I did not keep the house as a trophy. Keeping it meant keeping a physical connection to their toxic memory. I hired an aggressive real estate agent. I sold the property to a lovely young couple. When the massive wire transfer hit my bank account, I finally took a deep breath. My nervous system realized I was officially safe. I invested the money directly into my copywriting business. I upgraded my equipment. I built an untouchable emergency fund. And I paid for excellent therapy so I would never hear their critical voices in my head again. Meanwhile, reality hit them like a freight train. My father was forced to drive for rideshare apps 12 hours a day because his massive pride did not pay the rent. My mother took a part-time retail job. She complained to anyone who would listen about her cruel daughter, carefully leaving out the part where she publicly called me a parasite and expected me to fund her fake luxury lifestyle. My sister was the biggest loser of all. She was trapped in a cramped, dirty apartment on the edge of town. Her pristine social media aesthetic was completely destroyed. Her friends stopped calling. Nobody wants to associate with a girl who publicly bullies her own sister for likes, only to get completely humiliated by the truth. Even my ex-boyfriend Tyler tried to crawl back. He sent me a pathetic text saying he was always proud of my potential. Translation: now that I had money, a booming business, and total independence, I was suddenly attractive to him. I blocked his number instantly. That small click felt like closing a door I should have shut years ago. People often ask if I feel guilty. The answer is absolutely zero. Love without respect is just control in a nice disguise. Family is not a free pass to use you, humiliate you, and then demand your silence. Setting heavy boundaries is not cruelty. It is self-respect. Consequences are not revenge. They are education. My sister thought a cruel Facebook post would be her ultimate victory lap. She wanted the world to applaud her. Why? She wanted everyone to agree that I was the problem. But what she did not understand is that when you bully someone in public, you put yourself on trial in public. I did not destroy my family. They destroyed themselves. All I did was stop protecting them from the consequences of their own actions. Never confuse kindness with permission. Never confuse silence with weakness. Because the quiet ones are always paying attention. And when we finally strike back, we never miss.